Question words are words like who, what, why, how much, how many that are used to ask for information. In this lesson, we're going to learn 8 of the most common French question words and how to use them to ask a question. Because depending on whether you need to be formal or whether you can be casual, you would use a different structure. And also, not all question words actually work exactly the same. First up, we have où. Où, which means where. Now, in a formal context, you would first use the question word où, followed by inversion. In case you don't know, inversion is when you put the verb first and then the subject. So, for example, où allez-vous? Où, the question word, aller, the verb to go, vous, the subject. Où allez-vous? Where are you going? Où êtes-vous? Où êtes-vous? Where are you? Où, question word, être, the verb être, to be, and vous, the subject. Okay? And the great news is most question words actually work in the same way. So question word plus inversion when you need to be formal. Now, if you're in a casual setting, instead you have 2 options. You can use où followed by est-ce que, then the subject, and then the verb. So that's question word, est-ce que, subject, and verb. Où est-ce que vous allez? Où est-ce que vous allez? Where are you going? Où est-ce que vous êtes? Où est-ce que vous êtes? Where are you? And the second option in a casual setting, and perhaps the easiest, is to tag the question word at the end. So you would have the subject first, then the verb, and then the question word. Tu vas où? Tu vas où? Tu, subject, vas, verb, où, question word. Tu vas où? Where are you going? Vous êtes où? Vous êtes où? Where are you? Okay? Next up, we have quand. Quand. The D is silent and it means when. Now, the great news is it works exactly the same as où. So in a formal context, you would use quand followed by inversion. For example, quand arrivez-vous? Quand arrivez-vous? When are you arriving? Quand part-il? Quand part-il? When is he leaving? And in a casual context, you could use est-ce que followed by the subject, followed by the verb, so the normal word order for a sentence. For example, quand est-ce que vous arrivez? Quand est-ce que vous arrivez? When are you arriving? Quand est-ce qu'il part? Quand est-ce qu'il part? When is he leaving? Or you could tag the question word at the end and ask, vous arrivez quand? Vous arrivez quand? When are you arriving? Il part quand? Il part quand? When is he leaving? So again, 3 ways of asking a question. Use question word plus inversion if you need to be formal, and question word est-ce que, subject verb, or subject verb question word if you can be casual. A lot of the question words actually work this way. Number 3, we have comment. Comment, which means how. And again, it works just the same as où and quand. And this obviously was done on purpose to make it easier to remember. All the ones that work the same are introduced together. If you need to be formal, you would use comment, then inversion. Comment va-t-elle? Comment va-t-elle? How is she? And in case you're wondering what that T is about, it's a rule with inversion where if the verb ends in a vowel, you would just add that T there to aid pronunciation, but it doesn't actually have any meaning. It's just for pronunciation purposes. Now, that's obviously the subject for a different lesson, so we'll just leave it there, but just know it's just to do with inversion. Comment avez-vous fait ça? Comment avez-vous fait ça? How did you do that? Comment, question word. Avez is the verb avoir, and vous, the subject. Informal context with est-ce que. Comment est-ce qu'elle va? Comment est-ce qu'elle va? How is she? Now remember, in front of a vowel, que loses the E and instead you would use an apostrophe. Comment est-ce qu'elle va? Since elle starts with a vowel, we get rid of the E of que and put the apostrophe. Comment est-ce qu'elle va? How is she? Comment est-ce que vous avez fait ça? Comment est-ce que vous avez fait ça? How did you do that? Comment est-ce que vous avez fait ça? Or we can tag comment at the end. Elle va comment? Elle va comment? How is she? Vous avez fait ça comment? Vous avez fait ça comment? How did you do that? And in case you're new here and just starting your French learning journey, I have a free 7-day course. You'll be able to sign up by clicking on the link in the description. It includes everything you need to get started learning French, like pronunciation, grammar, audio, to get you started in the right order. So if you're interested, click on the link in the description. Next up, we have pourquoi. Pourquoi, which means why. And in formal context, you would just use pourquoi followed by inversion, just like all the others we've talked about already. For example, pourquoi riez-vous? Pourquoi riez-vous? Why are you laughing? Or pourquoi apprenez-vous le français? Pourquoi apprenez-vous le français? Why are you learning French? In informal situations, pourquoi can be placed at the beginning or at the end of the question, just like the others. But what you need to bear in mind is that it's much more common for it to be placed at the beginning. So it's actually quite rare for pourquoi to be tagged on the end. So let's have a look at how we would ask questions with pourquoi in casual settings. So let's look at est-ce que first. So pourquoi, est-ce que, subject and verb. Pourquoi est-ce que vous riez? Pourquoi est-ce que vous riez? Why are you laughing? Pourquoi est-ce que vous apprenez le français? Pourquoi est-ce que vous apprenez le français? Why are you learning French? Or, and this is slightly different from the others, you could use pourquoi and then the subject and then the verb. And you would rise your intonation to make sure people know it's a question. But anyway, they would, because pourquoi indicates that it's a question anyway. But yes, you would rise your intonation. Pourquoi vous riez? Pourquoi vous riez? Why are you laughing? Pourquoi vous apprenez le français? Pourquoi vous apprenez le français? Why are you learning French? So see, in this instance, we put pourquoi at the beginning instead of at the end. It wouldn't be wrong to place it at the end, but it's quite rare. And actually, why don't you let me know in the comments why you are learning French? I'd be interested to know the variety of people watching and what their motivation is behind learning the language. Is it to travel? Is it for work? Is it just as a hobby? Or any other reasons? Please let me know in the comments. Next up is combien, followed by a verb, or combien de, followed by a noun. Both mean how much or how many. Whether you need to use combien or combien de depends on what follows it. So if what follows is a verb, use combien. If what follows is a noun, use combien de. Okay? But both mean how much or how many. Now, combien or combien de technically work the same as all the others we've already talked about, but keep in mind that obviously if you're using combien de, which means a noun needs to come after, you obviously need to have your noun there, right? Whereas if you're using combien and then a verb, then it works exactly the same as the others because you don't have a word in between, you don't have a noun, okay? So in a formal setting, you would use inversion. So, for example, combien coûte-t-il? Combien coûte-t-il? How much does it cost? Combien de langues, which is the noun, combien de langues parlez-vous? That's the inversion. Combien de langues parlez-vous? How many languages do you speak? And in a casual situation, you could either use est-ce que or tag combien or combien de plus the noun at the end. So for example, combien est-ce qu'il coûte? Combien est-ce qu'il coûte? How much does it cost? Combien de langues est-ce que vous parlez? Combien de langues est-ce que vous parlez? How many languages do you speak? Or, il coûte combien? Il coûte combien? How much does it cost? Vous parlez combien de langues? Vous parlez combien de langues? How many languages do you speak? Okay, so just remember the difference between combien and combien de is what follows it. Combien is followed by a verb and combien de is followed by a noun. Both mean how much or how many, depending on the context. Number 6 is que. Que, followed by a verb, which means what, followed by a verb. Okay, so que becomes QU apostrophe, pronounced k, when the verb that follows starts with a vowel, a mute H, or the letter Y, right? And it works completely different to the others because que is always placed at the beginning and it's always used with inversion. So it's the most formal way of asking a what question in French, right? If you want to be casual, you would have to use qu'est-ce que or quoi instead, but we'll talk about these afterwards. So, for example, que faites-vous? Que faites-vous? What are you doing? Que, followed by inversion. Que faites-vous? What are you doing? Que dit-elle? Que dit-elle? What is she saying? Qu'écoutez-vous? Qu'écoutez-vous? What are you listening to? Notice we've taken the E away and replaced it with an apostrophe. So remember, que is always used with inversion and is a formal way of asking a what plus verb question in French. Now, if you want to be more casual, you can use qu'est-ce que instead. But qu'est-ce que is always followed by the subject and then the verb. So never followed by inversion because technically there is already an inversion within qu'est-ce que, within the expression qu'est-ce que. So we wouldn't then add another inversion after that, right? So qu'est-ce que followed by the subject followed by the verb. You can never put qu'est-ce que at the end of your question. Instead, what you could do is add quoi, which also means what. Okay, so all three, que, qu'est-ce que, and quoi, are what questions, but they are used differently and belong to different registers. So que is formal, qu'est-ce que, which would be placed at the beginning of your question, and quoi, which would be placed at the end of your question, are used to ask casual questions. So for example, qu'est-ce que vous faites? Qu'est-ce que, vous, the subject, faites, the verb. Qu'est-ce que vous faites? What are you doing? Vous faites quoi? What are you doing? Qu'est-ce qu'elle dit? Qu'est-ce qu'elle dit? What is she saying? Elle dit quoi? What is she saying? Okay? If you have any questions about this, don't hesitate, just leave a comment. Now, I knew you would only stick around this far if you're really committed, so I left the trickiest one for the end. It is qui. Qui, which means who. And the reason it's trickier is because the way you use qui depends on whether qui is the subject or whether it's the object, right? So if qui is the subject, it needs to be at the beginning of your question, and you can't use est-ce que with qui when qui is the subject. But instead, you could use est-ce qui, but that would make your question informal and it's less common. So just remember, if qui is the subject, qui always goes at the beginning of your question. So, for example, qui est là? Qui est là? Who is there? Qui a fait ça? Qui a fait ça? Who did this? Qui is the subject here, okay? It's mostly just qui plus the verb. This structure, qui plus the verb, can be used in any register. On the other hand, if you use qu'est-ce qui, then it makes the question informal. For example, qui est-ce qui est là? Qui est-ce qui est là? Who is there? Qui est-ce qui a fait ça? Qui est-ce qui a fait ça? Who did this? So if qui is an object, it would work the same as most of the other question words we talked about in this lesson, which means it could either go at the beginning of your question or at the end, depending on how formal or informal you want to be. And you could also use est-ce que to form your question in an informal context. So if you need to be formal and qui is an object, you would use qui followed by inversion. For example, qui est-ce? Qui est-ce? Who is it? Qui invitez-vous? Qui invitez-vous? Who are you inviting? And if you want to be informal, you could use est-ce que. Qui est-ce que c'est? Qui est-ce que c'est? Who is it? Qui est-ce que vous invitez? Qui est-ce que vous invitez? Who are you inviting? Or, again, if qui is an object, you could put it at the end. C'est qui? C'est qui? Who is it? Vous invitez qui? Vous invitez qui? Who are you inviting? I hope you found this lesson useful, and remember, if you're interested, to click on the link in the description to join my 7-day course. Thanks for watching. À la prochaine. Bye!